Imagine waking up one morning, looking out your window, and instead of a sunrise over Earth, you see a pale orange sky, a red desert stretching endlessly, and two tiny moons floating above the horizon. This is not a science fiction movie. This is the world Elon Musk dreams of creating. For years, Musk has told the world his boldest vision: that humanity must become a multi-planetary species. Not because it's cool, not because it would make him rich, but because he believes Earth will not last forever. Asteroids, climate change, wars. At some point, something could wipe us out. And the only way to guarantee survival is to pack up, leave home, and start again on another planet. But what would that future actually look like? What if Elon Musk really did it? If SpaceX rockets left Earth carrying thousands of people and built the first permanent colony in space, would Musk be remembered as a visionary who saved humanity, or a tyrant who created a new empire beyond Earth? Let's find out. The journey begins with one central question. Why Elon Musk? Of all the billionaires in the world, of all the space agencies, why is it always Musk's name tied to Mars and beyond? The answer is simple. Musk is obsessed. While most CEOs spend their time maximizing profits, Musk thinks in centuries. He doesn't just want to make electric cars or reusable rockets. He wants to rewrite the story of human civilization. In interview after interview, he repeats the same mantra: we must become a multiplanetary species. For him, space isn't optional, it's destiny. And he isn't just talking. Musk created SpaceX, the first private company to successfully build reusable rockets, cutting launch costs by up to 90%. He developed Starship, the most powerful rocket ever built, designed specifically to carry 100 people at a time to Mars. And unlike NASA or other agencies, Musk's timeline is shockingly ambitious. He has said he wants to see a self-sustaining Mars city in his lifetime. Now picture this. It's the year 2050. Earth is overcrowded, polluted, maybe even politically unstable. But above the chaos, fleets of silver SpaceX starships rise into the sky. Their destination, another world. On board, scientists, engineers, workers, and dreamers, all recruited to build humanity's first real off-Earth civilization. A world without governments, without borders, maybe even without the same rules of law. Because Musk has already said it clearly. On Mars, it will be Mars law, not Earth law. That means a brand new society, a blank slate. One man's dream or nightmare, depending on how you see it. But how would life actually work there? Think about the challenges. Breathing. Mars' atmosphere is 95% carbon dioxide. Eating. There are no farms, no supermarkets, just barren dust. Surviving. The planet is hit by deadly radiation, giant dust storms, and temperatures colder than Antarctica. To live there, Musk's colonists would need underground habitats, giant glass domes, and endless shipments of supplies from Earth. In the beginning, every day would be a fight just to survive. And yet, Musk believes it's worth it, because if he succeeds, the rewards are unimaginable. A city of 1 million people on another world, an economy fueled by space mining and new industries, a society free from Earth's politics, and Musk himself, not just a billionaire, but the founding father of a new civilization. So the question remains, what would really happen if Elon Musk colonized another planet? Would humanity finally escape its fragile cradle, opening a new era of exploration? Or would we repeat our mistakes? Greed, inequality, conflict, just on a much bigger scale? This isn't science fiction. This is the real plan, already being built today. And whether you love or hate Elon Musk, this future might be closer than you think. When Elon Musk speaks about the future, it often sounds like he's quoting straight out of a science fiction novel. While most billionaires talk about quarterly profits, luxury yachts, or political influence, Musk talks about survival of the species. He insists that the Earth, beautiful as it is just one fragile basket. And if we keep all of humanity's eggs in it, one day, we could lose everything. This is the foundation of his dream. From a young age, Musk was obsessed with space. Born in South Africa in 1971, he devoured science fiction books like The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Foundation. For Musk, space wasn't just entertainment, it was destiny. He often describes his childhood realization that humanity might one day go extinct, and that the only solution was to expand life beyond Earth. By the early 2000s, Musk was already a millionaire from PayPal. He could have retired comfortably. Instead, he looked up at the stars and asked, "Why haven't we gone to Mars yet?" In 2002, Musk founded SpaceX with a radical goal: to make rockets cheaper and reusable. At the time, this idea was considered almost impossible. Rockets had always been single-use, like throwing away a jumbo jet after one flight. Launching anything into space cost tens of millions of dollars. Colonizing another planet? Pure fantasy. But Musk wasn't deterred. He studied aerospace engineering obsessively, hired some of the best rocket scientists in the world, and poured his fortune into the company. The early days were brutal. SpaceX failed its first 3 rocket launches. Each explosion cost millions, and by 2008, Musk was nearly bankrupt. He famously said he could only afford one more launch. If it failed, SpaceX would die. But that 4th launch succeeded, and everything changed. NASA noticed, the US government noticed, and suddenly, Musk's crazy dream had funding. Fast forward to today. SpaceX is not only surviving, it dominates the space industry. Its Falcon 9 rockets have flown over 100 successful missions, landing back on Earth like science fiction come to life. But the real crown jewel is Starship. At 120 meters tall, Starship is the largest rocket ever built. It's designed to carry 100 people at a time, along with cargo, habitats, and supplies. And it's fully reusable. Musk's key to making interplanetary travel affordable, where NASA plans slow, cautious missions with a handful of astronauts. Musk talks about cities on Mars, not expeditions, not research stations, cities. In his own words, "I want to die on Mars, just not on impact." So, what's the actual plan? Musk has laid it out in various talks and interviews. The first step is building a reliable fleet of starships. Then, he wants to send cargo missions to Mars, robots, supplies, equipment to produce fuel and oxygen. The next step, the first humans. According to Musk, this could happen in the 2030s. These pioneers would live in small habitats, wearing spacesuits to step outside, relying entirely on Earth for support. But Musk's true goal is far more ambitious: a self-sustaining city of 1 million people on Mars by 2050. That means local farming, industry, and energy production. so the colony doesn't collapse if Earth stops sending supplies. This is where the dream crosses into territory most experts call impossible. Mars is lethal to humans. Its thin atmosphere provides no protection from radiation. Temperatures drop to -60 degrees Celsius. Dust storms can block out the sun for months. Yet Musk insists it can be done. Why not the moon or giant space stations? Musk has explained this clearly. Mars is far enough to be a real backup for humanity. If Earth suffers a disaster, Mars won't be affected. It has resources, water ice, carbon dioxide, minerals, enough to support industry and agriculture with the right technology. It has days similar to Earth, 24.6 hours, close enough that humans could adapt without losing their natural circadian rhythms. Then, perhaps most importantly, it's inspirational. Musk believes a Mars city would unite humanity in a way no other project could. But there's another side to Musk's dream. It's not just about logic, science, or survival. It's about hope. Musk often says that the world can be depressing. Wars, politics, poverty, climate change. But space exploration gives people something to believe in. You want to wake up in the morning and think the future is going to be great. And that's what being a spacefaring civilization is all about. In this sense, Musk isn't just building rockets. He's building mythology. He's crafting a vision of the future where humanity doesn't just survive, it thrives across the stars. Of course, not everyone is convinced. Critics argue Musk is distracting from Earth's real problems. Why spend trillions escaping to Mars when climate change, poverty, and inequality need urgent attention here? Others say it's a billionaire's vanity project, science fiction for the ultra-rich, while the rest of humanity struggles. And technically, the obstacles are staggering. Musk's timelines are notoriously optimistic. NASA says a Mars mission might not be possible until the 2040s or 2050s, and even then, only with a handful of astronauts, not millions. Yet, Musk brushes this off. He admits he might fail, but says failure is better than doing nothing. So what is Musk's dream, really? It's not just to reach Mars. It's to transform humanity into a multi-planetary species, to ensure that if Earth burns, humans don't vanish with it, to light a spark of adventure in generations to come. It's a dream rooted in survival, fueled by ambition, and wrapped in a vision so grand, it's hard to tell where reality ends and science fiction begins. But dreams have to meet reality, and reality on Mars is brutal. So in the next chapter, we'll see how this dream could actually play out. What would the first colony look like? How would people live, eat, and breathe? And what role would Musk himself play in this fragile new society? Because dreaming about Mars is one thing. Actually living there is something else entirely. Picture this. It's the year 2038. After decades of engineering, thousands of failed prototypes, and billions of dollars, the moment finally comes. A silver starship thunders into the Martian sky, its engines glowing blue as it slows for landing. The craft shudders as it pierces the thin Martian atmosphere. Dust kicks up in massive clouds, swirling across the barren red plain. And then, silence. The hatch opens. A figure in a bulky white spacesuit steps down the ramp. For the first time in history, a human being is about to walk onto another planet, not as an explorer, but as a settler. This is the beginning of the first colony. The very first colonists won't be tourists. adventurers, or billionaires. They'll be specialists. Musk has said repeatedly that the first crews will consist of engineers, scientists, doctors, and builders, people with the exact skills needed to survive and set up infrastructure. Forget luxury cabins or panoramic domes. These pioneers will land on a world that actively tries to kill them. Every breath of air, every sip of water, every bite of food will depend on fragile technology. The first settlement will likely be built near a source of water ice, buried under the surface. Starships will deliver prefabricated habitats, metallic cylinders, inflatable domes, and underground bunkers. The goal is simple: survive the first months without catastrophe. The colonists will be tasked with building shelters shielded from deadly radiation, setting up solar arrays and nuclear reactors for power, constructing life support systems to recycle air and water, and most importantly, starting the first greenhouses for food production. On Mars, the atmosphere is 95% carbon dioxide with less than 1% oxygen. Step outside without a suit, and you'd suffocate within minutes. The first colony's survival will depend on life support plants, machines that pull CO2 from the air and split it into oxygen and carbon monoxide. NASA has already tested this technology with the MOXIE experiment on the Perseverance rover. But scaling this up for hundreds of people? That's a whole new challenge. Inside the habitats, the air will be carefully monitored, recycled again and again. Colonists won't open windows because there are no windows. They'll live in a closed loop where even the smallest leak could mean death. Imagine sleeping at night with the knowledge that a single tear in the wall could drain the air in minutes. That is the reality of the first Martian homes. You can't order Uber Eats on Mars. Every calorie will either come from Earth or be grown locally. In the early days, colonists will survive on packaged, freeze-dried meals shipped across millions of kilometers. But this isn't sustainable. Musk's dream requires self-sufficiency. That means farming. Greenhouses will be essential. Transparent domes filled with carefully engineered soil, artificial light, and hydroponic systems. Crops like potatoes, lettuce, and wheat will be grown in controlled conditions. The air inside will be rich in carbon dioxide, perfect for plant growth. But farming on Mars won't be easy. Dust storms can block sunlight for weeks. Water is scarce and must be extracted from ice. Soil is toxic with perchlorates and must be purified. Colonists will become not just farmers, but bioengineers, constantly experimenting to make agriculture viable. A single failed crop could mean starvation. Water is life, and on Mars, it's locked beneath the surface. The first colonists will have to mine ice, melting it into liquid for drinking, farming, and oxygen production. But extracting ice on a freezing planet with limited energy is a constant battle. Water recycling will be pushed to the extreme. Every drop of sweat, every exhaled breath, even urine will be filtered and reused. Much like astronauts on the International Space Station, but scaled up for hundreds of people. On Mars, nothing is wasted. Mars has no magnetic field and only a thin atmosphere. Cosmic rays and solar storms bombard the surface with radiation levels up to 300 times higher than on Earth. Long exposure could cause cancer, infertility, or brain damage. That means the first colony will likely be underground. Habitats may be buried beneath meters of Martian soil, or even built inside natural lava tubes left behind by ancient volcanoes. Colonists will spend most of their lives indoors, shielded from the sun. The romantic image of domed glass cities? That may be centuries away. The reality will be claustrophobic tunnels and metal rooms lit by artificial lights. So what will a typical day look like for the first colonists? Wake up in a small bunk inside a shared habitat. Eat a carefully rationed meal of packaged food and greenhouse crops. Suit up for outside work, construction, maintenance, mining ice. Return inside for decontamination, since Martian dust can clog machinery and poison systems. Spend evenings repairing equipment, logging data, or exercising to prevent muscle and bone loss in low gravity. There will be no weekends, no vacations. Every hour will be dedicated to survival. And yet, even in this bleak environment, humans will find ways to adapt. Someone will crack a joke at dinner. Someone else will draw on the walls. Maybe a musician will bring a guitar. Slowly, a new culture will begin to form, the culture of Mars. The greatest danger may not be radiation or starvation. It may be isolation. The first colonists will live millions of kilometers from Earth. A radio signal takes 20 minutes to travel each way. That means no real-time conversations with family, no video calls. Every message will feel distant, delayed. Depression, cabin fever, and conflict are inevitable. Keeping morale high will be as important as keeping oxygen flowing. Psychologists predict colonists may develop a unique Martian identity, a sense of being pioneers separate from Earth, united by hardship. But it could also lead to rebellion. If survival depends on strict rules, what happens when someone breaks them? What if colonists decide they no longer want to follow orders from Earth or from Musk? One of the biggest unknowns, reproduction. So far, no human has ever been born outside Earth. Mars's lower gravity, 38% of Earth's, could cause complications in pregnancy, bone development, or even DNA expression. But eventually, it will happen. A baby will be born on Mars. That child will be the first true Martian, a symbol of humanity's new frontier. And from that moment on, the colony will no longer just be an experiment. It will be a civilization. The first colony will be a fragile, desperate outpost, clinging to survival in the harshest environment humans have ever faced. But if they succeed, if those first settlers endure the dust storms, the radiation, the isolation, then the next step will be even more radical. Because building shelters and growing crops is only the beginning. What happens when thousands of people arrive? What happens when the colony stops being an experiment and starts being a society? When the first colony survives its initial years, humanity will face a question even bigger than oxygen, water, or food. The question is this: what kind of society will grow on another planet? Because survival is only the first step. Once thousands of people arrive, once children are born, Mars will not just be a camp of pioneers, it will become a civilization. And civilizations need rules, leaders, culture, and identity. So, what happens when human society is reborn under a different sky? One of the most immediate issues is leadership. Who governs Mars? On Earth, countries fight over borders, resources, and power. But Musk has already hinted that Mars may follow a different path. In 2016, SpaceX released terms of service for its Starlink internet service. Hidden inside was a remarkable line: for services provided on Mars or in transit to Mars, the parties recognize Mars as a free planet and that no Earth-based government has authority or sovereignty over Martian activities. In other words, Mars will make its own laws. This is revolutionary. International treaties, like the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, state that no nation can claim another celestial body. But if a private company like SpaceX establishes a settlement, does that treaty hold? If Musk has his way, Martians will not answer to Washington, Moscow, or Beijing. They will answer only to themselves. At first, Musk might play a central role. Some see him as a visionary founder, others as a potential dictator. Imagine Elon Musk as the president of Mars, or even the emperor of Mars. Would colonists accept his leadership, or would they demand democracy? The truth is, power vacuums don't last. Humans crave order. A constitution, elections, or a governing council will be inevitable. But whatever form it takes, the first Martian government will be unlike anything on Earth. Born out of necessity, forged in isolation. Life on Mars will be fragile. A single mistake could kill dozens. That means rules will not just be guidelines, they will be life or death. For example, breaking quarantine after a radiation storm could contaminate habitats. Sabotaging life support systems could wipe out the colony. Refusing to work might risk everyone's survival. On Earth, breaking the law might get you fined, imprisoned, or shamed. On Mars, breaking the law could get you exiled into the deadly outside environment, a punishment equivalent to death. Justice will be strict, swift, and often unforgiving. Freedom may be limited in the early years. Colonists may trade some personal rights for the survival of the group. What money would Martians use? Dollars? Bitcoins? Something new? Elon Musk himself has joked about Marscoin, a cryptocurrency designed for interplanetary trade. It sounds ridiculous, but digital currency makes sense when physical cash is impossible to transport. But beyond money, what about the economy? What jobs will exist? In the beginning, engineers, builders, doctors, scientists, farmers and resource extractors, technicians maintaining reactors, oxygen systems, and 3D printers. Over time, new professions will emerge. Teachers for Martian children, artists, entertainers, and storytellers, lawyers and judges for disputes, religious leaders and philosophers. An economy will form naturally. Colonists might trade work hours, crops, or even oxygen credits. Entire industries may emerge around survival technologies. And eventually, Mars could trade with Earth, selling rare metals, knowledge, or even new medicines developed in low gravity. At some point, colonists won't just be workers, they'll form families. Raising children on Mars will be unprecedented. What will it mean to be a Martian? Biologically, growing up in low gravity may change human development. Bones and muscles could grow differently. Martian children might be taller, thinner, with altered physiology. Psychologically, they will never see Earth with their own eyes. Earth will be a myth, a story told by their parents. The only home they know will be a red desert beneath a pale sky. Culturally, their identity will not be American, Chinese, or French. They will be Martian. This could be the true revolution. A new generation born off Earth, claiming a new nationality. I am Martian. Society is not just laws and money. It's stories, songs, rituals. What culture will grow on Mars? Art. Martian artists may paint the endless red horizons, the glowing domes, the stars seen without atmospheric distortion. Music. Musicians may adapt to the acoustics of enclosed habitats. Imagine entire concerts held underground, the bass rumbling through metal tunnels. Food. Martian cuisine may be limited at first, but over generations, unique recipes using hydroponic crops could emerge. And what about religion? Humans carry their beliefs everywhere. Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and atheism will all be present. But new religions may also arise, belief systems rooted in the Martian experience, a cult of the red planet, worship of survival itself, or even a Muskism, venerating Elon Musk as the founder who delivered humanity to a new world. Children born on Mars will need education tailored to their world. History lessons will include Earth, but also the founding of the Martian colony. Science classes will focus on space travel, biology and low gravity, and engineering survival systems. Physical education might emphasize bone strengthening and exercise routines to counteract low gravity. Education will serve not just to teach, but to create Martians, citizens loyal to their world, proud of their identity, prepared to continue the colony. No society is free of conflict. What happens when disputes arise? A colonist feels overworked. A group refuses to follow Musk's rules. Someone tries to smuggle contraband or sabotage equipment. On Earth, people can run away. On Mars, there is nowhere to run. Conflict may escalate quickly. Groups may split into factions: pro-Musk loyalists, democratic reformers, religious groups, even anarchists. And what if the colony decides it no longer wants to follow Earth at all? A Martian independence movement could arise. Think about it. Why should Martians obey a planet 200 million kilometers away? Why should they listen to billionaires who live in luxury while colonists struggle to survive? History may repeat itself. Just as America declared independence from Britain, Mars could one day declare independence from Earth. Eventually, a distinct identity will form. Colonists will see themselves not as Earthlings, but as pioneers, survivors, Martians. Their holidays may celebrate the landing of the first starship. Their anthem may speak of red horizons and courage. Their art may glorify the silence of space. Language itself may evolve. English, Mandarin, Spanish, Hindi may blend into a Martian Creole, a simplified mix that everyone can understand. After all, survival demands communication. And when the first child born on Mars says, "I am Martian," the transformation will be complete. Through all of this, Elon Musk will remain a looming figure. Some will worship him as a hero, the man who gave humanity a second chance. Statues may be built in his honor. Cities may bear his name. Others will resent him as a tyrant, the billionaire who played God, dragging humanity into his personal vision. He may be blamed for hardships, rebellions, or failures. One thing is certain: Musk's shadow will stretch across every dome, every tunnel, every child born under the red sky. Society on Mars will be messy, fragile, and unpredictable. But if it survives, it opens the door to something greater. Because once society is stable, once children are born and new cultures emerge, Mars won't just be a home. It will be an engine of growth. Mining, trade, new industries, even interplanetary commerce could transform a struggling colony into the heart of a new economy. Up until now, we've looked at survival, air, water, food, and the birth of a fragile Martian society. But survival is only the beginning. If a colony wants to grow into a city, and that city into a civilization, it needs something more powerful than oxygen or potatoes. It needs an economy. Because survival keeps people alive, but the economy gives them a reason to stay. So, what would the economy of Elon Musk's Mars look like? Who would make money? Who would lose? And could this new world transform Musk from the richest man on Earth into the richest man in history? Every economy starts with resources. What does Mars actually have? Water ice, essential for drinking, farming, and making fuel. Hydrogen and oxygen extracted from ice could create rocket propellant. This means Mars could one day refuel ships for journeys deeper into space. Carbon dioxide. The atmosphere is 95% CO2, which can be turned into oxygen or methane fuel through chemical processes. Regolith, Martian soil, rich in iron, magnesium, and other metals. With advanced processing, it could provide building materials, silicon, perfect for making solar panels. Mars has abundant dust and sand that could be turned into energy infrastructure. Rare metals. Mars is thought to hold veins of gold, platinum, nickel, and rare earth elements. These could become the backbone of Martian exports. In short, Mars is not empty. It's a treasure chest. Locked, yes, but filled with potential wealth. At first, industries will focus on survival. Energy, solar farms, nuclear reactors, maybe even fusion if humanity cracks it in time. Construction, 3D printing habitats using Martian soil, inflatable domes for farming, tunnels carved into lava tubes. Agriculture, hydroponics, vertical farms, genetically modified crops. Life support, air recyclers, water treatment, waste recycling. But once those foundations are laid, new industries will emerge. Mining, extracting metals and minerals for tools, electronics, and trade. Manufacturing, using 3D printers to make everything from spare parts to clothing. Medicine, studying how low gravity affects biology could lead to new cures and treatments. Data and research. Mars could become the Silicon Valley of space. Scientists studying geology, astronomy, and physics in ways impossible on Earth. Imagine labs studying how human DNA changes in low gravity, or how new materials behave under Martian conditions. These discoveries could be worth trillions. Trade will be the lifeline between planets. But how do you trade when your closest partner is 225 million kilometers away? At first, trade will be one way. Earth will send food, medicine, machinery, and luxury goods. Mars will send gratitude. The colony will depend almost entirely on subsidies and supplies. But as Mars grows, exports could begin. Knowledge, scientific discoveries, patents, and data. Resources, rare metals mined more cheaply than on Earth. Energy. In the far future, Mars might build massive solar arrays and beam power back to Earth. Tourism. Billionaires and adventurers may pay fortunes for a trip to the Red Planet. A ticket to Mars might cost $500,000 today. But in the future, space tourism could be the new luxury industry. How do you pay for a meal on Mars? Carrying Earth cash won't work. Even digital payments through Earth banks would suffer 20-minute communication delays. That's why many speculate Mars will invent its own currency. Musk himself has joked about Mars Coin, a cryptocurrency designed for the colony. In practice, a blockchain-based currency would make sense. Decentralized, not tied to Earth governments, and functional without instant communication. But beyond cryptocurrency, Mars might adopt credit-based economies. oxygen credits, water credits, work hours. In the beginning, money won't be about buying luxuries. It will be about distributing survival. Over time, as industries grow, a true marketplace will form. Farmers selling crops, engineers trading services, artists selling digital works. Yes, even NFTs might survive on Mars. Right now, Musk is already one of the richest men alive. But if he establishes a colony, his wealth could multiply beyond imagination. Control of transport. If SpaceX is the only company capable of flying to Mars, Musk effectively owns the supply chain of a planet. Intellectual property. SpaceX's patents, life support systems, and technology could dominate Martian infrastructure. Land ownership. Who owns Martian land? If Musk claims rights, he could theoretically own entire cities. Some economists argue that Musk could become the first trillionaire. Others argue he could become something even bigger, the founder of the first interplanetary empire. But there's a risk. History shows that monopolies breed rebellion. Colonists may not tolerate one man owning their future. Just as the future is uncertain, the risks are immense, but the stars are waiting. And maybe, just maybe, Elon Musk is right. Maybe our destiny is not to remain on Earth forever. Maybe our destiny is to walk among the stars. If you enjoyed this journey into the future of humanity, don't stop here. Subscribe to the channel for more epic documentaries about science, space, and the wild possibilities of tomorrow. And if you want to push the algorithm to take this further, like the video, drop a comment, and share it with a friend who loves space as much as you do. Together, we'll keep exploring the unknown.